Fitness, and this is actually part two of our week three holiday fitness challenge. But it's an interview with Miss Heather Wilson, who is amazing and a friend and a client and someone that I admire a lot. She's a nine-time national racing champion, and she's an entrepreneur, owner of Wishy Washy Laundromat, and she's also mobile notary. So she's very driven and she's very passionate about the things that she does, and she's a perfect person to talk to about staying dedicated and being driven and chasing after your goals, because a lot of people will struggle with that. So let's see what we can learn from Heather. So hello, Heather, and thank you for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
Tell everyone about your motorcycle racing career and something about that, because that's very impressive.
Yeah, that started some time ago, back in like 97, maybe, okay, maybe 92. But yeah, I just got into motorcycles through a guy, as most of us girls do. And it ended up just being a real niche for me. I started winning championships right from day one with drag racing. That then took me into the full circuit street bike uh, it's called AFM up in Sonoma. I forget what they call it now. I'm going to date myself because it was Sears Point when I was there. So it's always Sears Point to me. Sonoma Raceway, maybe now. I don't, so I was up there running the full track on a Ninja until I put myself through a fence at about 100 miles per hour, which landed me in a wheelchair. Hence, Crashing Girl being my nickname is where that came from. When I got out of the wheelchair, I had two broken legs, those healed, and I got on my dirt bike because that was all I had left. Well, I ended up starting to race these national dirt bike races, and you could crash your brains out and you kind of get back up. The bike's fine, you're fine most of the time. So Kawasaki ended up picking me up as I started to excel in that sport. And I was just driven. It felt like sky's the limit. I had no guardrails, no ceiling for me. And I was just climbing this ladder that seemed endless. So that makes it really fun. What's not really fun is when you get to the top of the ladder and you're looking down and behind yourself and you start racing not to lose. That's when it's maybe time to switch sports up. So your last week's discussion on talking about drive and goals really relates to me and how my career went. But I ended up achieving 9 national titles through the off-road season with Kawasaki. And by
Wow.
2005, I ended up with a big injury that gave me some permanent nerve damage to my right arm. And that ended my career. In 2005, we did several surgeries trying to salvage it, and it just was not coming back. But I still have this drive to be an athlete because it's a lifestyle now. I've been doing this, being an athlete my whole life, going up through all these sports that kids do, soccer, swimming, softball, all that kind of stuff. Um, and then getting into professional sports, I've probably spent 20 years in the motorcycle world. So now it's a lifestyle to kind of be really in tune with your body, physical performance, what can you get out of it regardless of age, what you're putting in it. So that's where you and I come to play, as you came into my career when I went professional about 18 years ago. And that's when we really started fine tuning what goes in your body is going to determine what's going to happen as far as performance. And it wasn't so much before where it had been more of a no pain, no gain, just tough it out, just muscle it. I started to get into my 30s and I was in my prime. So now I needed to pay attention to the details of supplements and food and calories and time of day eating. And that kept me driven. And I just kept excelling because, like you said, when you have a goal and it has a time stamp on it, and you're kind of a driven A personality overachiever like myself, You chase that thing pretty darn hard. But yeah, that's how, I ended up having to retire by 2007 because of the injury. I fought that injury for 2 seasons, ended up tearing an ACL on top of the shoulder damage I had. I tore an ACL 6 months later trying to race injured. And just the writing was on the wall at this point. You remember that. You were there for the
I
whole thing.
I remember that
So,
very well, and it was a tough page for you to turn,
yeah.
as it would be for any athlete, but your career was incredible, and congratulations on that, and I don't know if that division has a Hall of Fame, but it should, and if it did, you should be in it if you're not already, or you will be one day, so congratulations. But let's talk about turning that page because
Yeah.
you still had all this energy and drive, and you're at the same time, like, professional is great, but it wasn't professional in terms of you didn't have to work. So you were working at the same time,
Oh, yeah.
in terms of your career, and you still had to find time and now impetus for fitness. And a lot of people have struggled with, oh, I don't have time, I don't this, I don't that. And I know what your training schedule is like and your work schedule is like, and you blow that excuse like out of the water completely. So tell us what allowed you to make that transition and dedicate yourself into fitness pursuits, and tell us some of the fitness pursuits that I know that you've done, but some of the things that you've gotten into as far as your fitness journey.
But well, now since I have issues with the shoulders, so I still like being out on dirt trails. So now I'm running. I can cycle, but I have to road bike. I can't handle mountain bikes because of my shoulder injury. But so if I want to be out on the trails, I picked up running. I'm not a good runner. So I really have to watch my conditioning and my foods, my weight, muscle, and when I say weight, not necessarily lean and mean and skinny, because that's something we've kind of gone through recently. Skinny doesn't mean you're a better performer. And we're starting to fine tune that and see where my body wants to be to get the performance that I demand of it. So I've just kind of developed this lifestyle, and I like you've talked about in these past 2 videos of diet and what a diet is. It doesn't mean you're starving yourself or trying to do something. It's just the way you eat. So I always say that it's a lifestyle. My activities, whether I'm running, cycling, I'm in the gym, doing whatever I'm doing, people, oh, what are you training for? And that's when I tell them I'm not training for anything. It's my lifestyle. And I think that also gets me mentally prepared that this is what the routine is. This is what I enjoy to do. I'm not doing a short term goal because it's the new year and I'm going to get 10 pounds off, because those things always fail because they're so short term. You mentioned that a lot in the last video about these short term goals can kind of turn around and bite you in the butt. You'll hit them, you look amazing, and then you're exhausted because you step so far outside of your lifestyle that everything starts to catch back up. And I do that too, even though it's still my lifestyle. I have the ups and downs and getting fatigued and overwhelmed or overtrained. Right, I'm the undernourished, overtrained category. But I am now loving being in the gym again. I was out of the gym for probably 7 or 8 years, and I lost a lot of muscle doing a lot of cycling, doing a lot of running. Like you mentioned, getting my body used to doing extreme cardio. So progress and performance kind of topped off and then started to get some diminishing returns because, of course, I'm adding miles, I'm going harder, but I'm just getting better at it. But I'm getting the diminishing returns and not getting what I thought I'd get. So this has been a real education, a different type of education now from what we were doing before, 15 years ago. Um, and that's kind of what the journey is now. I'm dealing with menopause, 54. I'm now seeing the effects of uh, your hormones and the big change of hormones and what that does to motivation. Motivation's the first thing that hits the road with hormones. When you lose testosterone and estrogen, the motivation goes right out the door with it, and then the energy goes right behind it.
Yeah.
So this has been a really big year of relearning everything that used to work, doesn't work. Now what does work? It's a moving target. And I think that is the same for men and for women. As you age, it's a
Definitely.
moving target, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. And we have to redefine our why sometimes and
Mhm.
find different things that we're chasing and for different reasons. And to fuel that drive and nurse that drive and keep us going. And the best of the best and people that are successful, we chase different things for motivation. So we understand that that's only going to be temporary, and so we it may help us reach a certain goal, but then we change, that motivation to fuel that drive to keep us going. So we could find those short-term things. Like when we got back together recently, you had a goal of, you had a documentary that you needed to do, and yet that fired you up to like get on this program to really excel at that. And then once
Yeah.
that's over, okay, now what? What's the next log that you can throw on the fire to
Yeah.
get to that next point? All within the big picture of what are my long-term goals? What am I really trying to do? And what's impressive about you is you've let that transition from fitness into your business and career. And so tell us a little bit about what you do as far as an entrepreneur and how that same drive, because I've seen it, has to come into play to allow you to be successful.
Yeah, I catch a lot from my family about my drive. If I say I'm gonna do it and they're like, "I don't know, have you really thought about that?" "I'm doing it. Hello." I think they finally learned to just like, "All right, all right, all right. This is what she's doing now." But yeah, I do have just this natural way of being determined. When I see something I really want to do, I will just figure it out. I don't necessarily know the path to figuring it out, but it's going to come together. And I just truly believe in that. So I've left the corporate world about 6 years ago to be a mobile notary. I'd started a mobile notary service in search of being an entrepreneur. What kind of business could I have? I don't have a lot of cash on hand to kick it off. So the mobile notary just fell in my lap accidentally through a friend telling me a story of they met a mobile notary and it seems like it's a real income. And COVID hit. So the timing couldn't have been better. Interest rates were low and offices were closed. So they relied on notaries being mobile. So that business just took off. And 6 years later, I decide I kind of need some residual income, a little more passive, because drive as much as I drive for the mobile notary, I don't see it as being sustainable in my late 60s. And I thought, what can I do? So I revisited an idea I had had 6 years ago about buying a laundromat. I'd done research. I wrote a very small business plan. I could see it was a legit good business to be in. So I went back and wrote a very extensive business plan because that's what I do. I drive and I research and I research and I test product. And I learned that from the racing, man. You got to test them tires before you take them out on the track, fly 2,500 miles across the country and think you're going to win a race on something you've never even tested. So I was always testing. So when it came to research, that's my jam. So got back into the whole laundromat idea. And before you know it, I'm buying my first laundromat and renovating and just reinventing this space, which I now realize is a community service and a health service to people. And all of a sudden, I'm part of a community. And that seems to be my superpower, which I didn't know. And it revealed to me that my superpower is kind of taking care of people, being hospitable, over accommodating, and very hospitable, which is dangerous in certain aspects of my life. But in this, it's a superpower. So now I'm running two businesses and it's made my life extremely busy. Lately, working 7 days a week because it's very random as to when somebody at the laundromat needs help because something broke, or all of a sudden I need a mobile notary needs to get out and get these docs signed because they're trying to close this real estate transaction. Um, it's kind of hair on fire every day. So I have to still drive on the workouts and all the work that you and I did to get me ready for that documentary. I want to keep that momentum because I'm seeing positive effects of my body changing. So trying to fit these workouts in, the food prep. It's really hard to be organized. So sometimes my wheels fall off and I'm kind of in the dumps for a day or two, just thinking, oh, I've blown it. I've blown it. I ate this, I ate that. Now I'm a big pig. And then I gotta call you and you have to peel me off the ceiling. But yeah, so I find it really hard sometimes because we're trying to do 3 to 4 workouts a week, plus the food, and food prep is so important. That's when you get caught. I'd say food prep's probably the most important thing, because when you eat bad, it's because you got caught not being prepared, not having your little ice chest with 4 quality meals with your protein and your balanced macros in the car. You just thought, oh, I'll wing it. I'm just going to grab this apple. And now you're finding yourself at McDonald's or something because you're starving and you're like, screw it. I'm starving. I don't have time. And I think if you want to master anything about this kind of lifestyle of health and fitness, first master how to do food prep and not make it a nightmare like, oh gosh, I got to get ready for the week. But figure out what works for you and the recipes that are healthy, that are easy for you to do or you enjoy to do, whatever one wins with you. And that's, I would say, the top habit you need to have in order to have consistency, or else it's just too easy to end up in the drive-through.
Yeah. So cool and so true. And that all goes back to what I always say is you have to understand how important you are and how important fitness is and your goals are to take those steps for yourself to get yourself into that position of success. If you don't value yourself and prioritize your goals, then you won't do those things and you'll wind up in the drive through and you'll wind up not having the meals that you want to have and you'll wind up missing those workouts. So it stems from that foundation and then the rest kind of falls into place. And you have, I know what your schedule's like, and tell everyone what your workout program is like and how you fit that in. And I just want people to have an example of what you fit in with a schedule that is a moving target day to day, but you still make it happen. And that's like, I want them to be inspired by that and to say, wow, if she can do that still with all she has going on. I can get in my 3 workouts a week, or I can do this, or I can do that, whatever. So, like, walk people through one of maybe your last week and what you did in terms of your workouts.
Okay. I've had to get off the idea that I work out in the mornings. Now, generally, I prefer to do that. That's when my legs are fresh. That's when my mind is fresh. I perform the best between 10 and 12 in the morning for all things, really. So I was this morning workout person up at 5 a.m. and da 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 da. But sometimes I've got to be at a signing at 7 a.m. So that means I can't do that routine. So then I've had to accept that sometimes my workout's going to be at night or middle of the day. Last week, there was maybe 1 or 2 times I did a morning workout because I'm my body, now that you and I have been working together again and we're getting my metabolism back in space. I'm getting all my hormones aligned with my doctor. Now I'm back to waking up at 5:15 in the morning. And that's what I need to do to have a successful day. And I'm starting the day with a small balanced meal to break the overnight fast, to get the metabolism going, not doing any intermittent fasting or anything like that. But just a little bit of, non-fat yogurt with some raspberries kicks that system off so it can get ready for a workout. I'm doing about a 10-minute breath meditation in the morning. That kind of gets my head in the game. And it's also pumps you with energy when you do a breath meditation. And then I'll do, since I've started having some digestive issues, that's common with menopause, and we've been changing my food. So I have some about 8 to 10 minute videos, yoga for digestive gut health. So that's, the first 20, 25 minutes of my day is based on this, getting my mindset, getting some energy going, and getting my system, moving. Then if I can, off to the gym. So now it's, 6:15, and I'll hit the gym for one of your workouts, whatever we're doing that day. For, I don't know, it's about 45 minutes ish, depending, legs, maybe a little bit longer. So right around 45 minutes. It's a 2 block walk for me, so it's pretty close. I don't have to make huge efforts to go to the gym. I can walk there in less than 5 minutes, which is kind of nice. And then when I'm coming back, getting ready for work, then I'm off and I'm driving everywhere. I'll drive between 2 and 3 or 4 counties in the day.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and who knows when I'm home. Sometimes it's a 12-hour day and I'm getting home at 7. But my goals in the evening is to be like in the bathtub between 8 and 8:30. I love taking baths because that's a nice calming way to not be in front of a screen, not be on the cell phone, not, doing all sorts of stuff or watching some crazy Netflix show that gets y'all ramped up, or gets your mind like spinning. It's kind of just another form of meditation, really, is what it is. So I'll do a bath. I target 8 to 8:30, and then I like to crawl in bed right after that. I might do a little bit of a nighttime breath meditation for 5 minutes before bed because I'm so hot from the tub. I'm kind of sweaty and getting my body temperature back down. Then I'll crawl in bed and just read for a few minutes, whether it's kind of self help, whether it's nutrition, or it's just a fun book or something. But that really calms me down and I fall asleep in 2, 3 minutes. And I
oh,
tend to sleep very well since I kind of have that routine. And then my body's naturally waking up at 5:15, which is kind of nice. And that's generally how it goes. Now, how the in between of waking up and going to bed, that keeps shifting. If I have an early morning signing, I had a 7 a.m. signing the other day. So I had to be out of the house by about 6:30 in the morning. So I got the breath meditation and the yoga in, but no workout. But then in the middle of the day, I had about an hour and a half because the evening I had signings. I wasn't going to get home till 9 or 9:30. That's too late to be eating, to be working out, and then getting to bed with my mind rested. So I thought my only opportunity for workout's going to be right in the middle of the day. And so when I got home, I didn't want to go to the gym, but I was like, this is your only opportunity. Are you willing to skip the gym today? Or are you going to squeeze it in? You got an hour and a half. You're going to sit on the couch or you're going to go, you're going to go do some crunches. So I was like, just go, just go. You've never walked out of the gym going, wow, that was a real wasted time. I shouldn't have done that. You always walk out going, oh, I'm so glad I did that. I am so glad I rallied and got in there. And so I try and think of what it feels like at the end of a workout when I'm not wanting to go.
yeah.
So I got myself together, went down there, and I got that 45 minutes in, and then got back in the car and off I go again to the next signing and got my day. But boy, by the end of the day, I was like, I knocked that out. I got the meditation, I got the yoga, I got the workout in. I'm jumping in the tub at 9 o'clock. I'm a little off schedule, but not too bad. So it's just being able to just allow yourself to say, I'm not necessarily a morning person or an evening person. I work out on these days at this time, especially if your schedule isn't always set in stone. Just
Mhm.
letting yourself be more flexible, I think, is super helpful because I work out in the mornings. If I miss it, I miss it. That's it. It's over. Now I want the conditioning more than I want the schedule. So I'm just riding with it on certain days. Today was a complete mess and I had to just switch it up. And so but I still got the workout in. I went and swam in the bay for my cold plunge. And, now I've got the rest of the evening to myself to eat healthy, relax, be in the tub when I want, be in bed when I want, read what I want, and just kind of settle in, and have a good night's rest. So,
Cool. And you earned that. You earned to getting to that place, and you have enough experience to know that you're gonna feel better powering through and getting those things done and earning that, okay, I did it, and that sense of accomplishment, just like doing that
yeah,
tough term paper or whatever, then you would be, oh gosh, I didn't work out, I could have, or I didn't eat well, I could
guilt
have.
trip.
And so, yeah, those rewards, and it's not always going to be fun, and that's okay. It's going to be hard sometimes. That's also okay. But big picture, you understood. You may not have been motivated to work out, at certain times or whatever, but it still fit into your overall vision of where you wanted to be. And and you've learned that and gotten used to that, and that's a part of you and a part of a fitness lifestyle. And she's starting to look very angelic to us now because she's in her RV. She's doing some work on that. So you're glowing and have a halo, which is all good.
I
So
do?
yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, there you
Uh,
go. You're back. You're back.
I didn't have my video open, I only had yours, so sorry about that.
You should rather see you than me. That's better. But I do want to like because we're going to talk more about different things at different times and be more specific. But I did want to ask you, what advice would you give to someone who is either struggling to get this started and or giving them some advice to help them keep going through those tough times and through those times where the spotlight's off and there are no cheering crowds and they're still trying to get it done. So is there any advice that you can get, things that you've learned, things that you struggle with that you came through?
Well, I struggle with all these things too, and sometimes I have a hard time motivating. But what I've done is, you know, I started listening to different podcasts when I'm at the gym. Podcasts that I really like or music. Sometimes like I love handpan and I listen to it in the gym. So I go to the gym to meet with Tony Robbins or to listen to my handpan. But it's because I save that for my workouts. It becomes like, oh, I want to listen to this next video at Tony, but that's my workout, tape. So then I kind of get excited to go see Tony Robbins at 24-hour fitness. You know, I'm starting to, and I'm noticing this by total accident that I am associating certain things that I like to do also with the gym. So then, and I like being at the gym. I'm looking around, watching people doing their thing, and everybody's there, for the same reason for the most part. So there's an energy about it. Even if my workout, I'm not feeling it, or I'm sore, or I'm tired, even if I just go in and I go, okay, I'm only going to do 2 sets. I'm going to lighten up the weights, but I'm going to be here and I'm going to be in this energy of everybody else. And I'm going to let this crowd pull me along, even though they don't know it. And I'm going to listen to my Tony Robbins and get inspired from something he's saying or doing. Or if you're really crazy, you'll get into David Goggins and then you'll go in there and you'll kill it. You might end up in the hospital, but sometimes if I'm really down, I'm like, I know Goggins will pull me up out of the mud, so it's like I start associating my workouts, whether it's cycling, running, or the gym, with other things I like. So then when I go to do a workout, I'm getting a double hit of fun, not just relying on just the gym to interest me today. Or you talked about changing up workouts for a client of yours in the last video, that she wanted it to be fun because it got boring. And I think if you start to get into a routine of listening to a podcast you love or an album or bit of music, save it for your workouts. And I think your brain just starts to associate that as fun. Like you go out to dinner, you don't bring dessert home, you don't buy ice cream at home, but when you go to dinner, you get a dessert. So you really only go to dinner to get a dessert. I only go to weddings for the cake. Now, if they pull out some silly strawberry something or other, I'm pissed. I want chocolate. That's the whole reason I came to this wedding, is for that cake. That's my reward. And I only go to the movies for the popcorn. I don't care what's on the screen. If I treat myself to a movie, that secretly means I'm treating myself to popcorn. So there's like this double effect. So then I think you will have more success if you add something else that you like and you only do it or experience it when you're doing whatever your workout is. Probably starts to make that workout easier. All of a sudden it's done. I'm going to cycle 20 miles. All of a sudden you're 18 miles in, but you're only 2/3 through this podcast and it's gotten really good. And now you're doing circles in the parking lot because you're trying to finish the podcast. I've done that because you want to hear what it says and your workout's already done. But for me, it's associating things. And then I get excited to get back into that story, that audio book or whatever. So I got to get back into, on the bike or back on that run, because that audiobook is just getting to this really good part and I only listen to it when I'm running or whatever. So I think that thinking about something that you can associate and tie to that could change your motivation quite a bit for a while.
That is so awesome. Thank you for that. And for those of you that are working out at home or whatever, you could do the same thing with if you have some home equipment or you have like a treadmill and then you could be on it during your favorite TV show or whatever, or a ball
Yeah.
game or something like that. I've killed a lot of cardio watching, a football game or something like that. So that's why I wanted to bring people like Heather here to us to give us that extra little bit of insight and learn from them and be motivated, inspired, and help nourish our drive. And we'll do some more stuff on nourishing your drive. But thank you so much, Heather. We will definitely have you back and have you help people more so. But keep doing the things you're doing. Stay amazing, and it is my honor to be working with you again. And thank you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll be back with some more episodes and some more good information for you to help you reach your fitness goals. Take care.